I'm very good, thanks. Very good. It sounds like I'm lying.
You can't be in the situation.
Do you know when people ask you, and this time they ask how are you? And then you answer, yeah, I'm good, and then they start to tell you how they really feel, don't they? But you don't want to give it all away.
Yeah.
But we are, on the outside we're good when we're speaking to people and connecting with friends. I think that's what's got us through really as entertainers, as I know you have over the last year. It's connecting and actually keep doing what you're doing. But I'd like to talk about how we first met actually, and I think it may be a different time for you, but I'm trying to recall the first meeting. Was it Haven Awards evening, and we were both performing that night? I think were you in your double act then?
Yes, it was. It was Hafan.
Yes.
Hafan Wymore, and they had a big. I think it was evening. Yeah, big gala evening, and we went on first as more of the early evening. I think it was about 8:00, 7:30, 8, and then you were on a bit later on. But yeah, we met backstage and got chatting and that. Packed out room as good back then.
It was busy, wasn't it? But it was all Haven, mate.
Coming, but it's a bit different nowadays.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was the first.
It was brilliant. It's embarrassing actually if you talk about meeting someone for the first time and then you forgot the first time you met them. But
on the same bill as you, but it's good to finally meet after all Facebook, shenanigans.
I know, mate. Yeah,
on and everything.
Yeah, me too. It's lovely to see you and Tom. It was Tom Rolfe, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so I used to be in a double act, and now I'm solo. But it was all entertainment and all that I've done for so long, done so many things that I've dipped my hand into a pies, as it were.
Yes.
But yeah, no, it's just anything to make people laugh. Being an entertainer is just magical. So being able to tour and meet different entertainers and acts on the circuit.
Yeah.
It's great to just discuss stories and discuss, it's nice to see other people at some point when you're on the road. Otherwise you just get used to your own voice in the car and the radios and all that. But
I know the feeling, yeah. Because I've always travelled on my own, really. So it's nice when you do finally hit a pantomime or a summer season where you are doing something with someone. And when you were in the double act, you had that company, didn't you, with Tom? So it was Double Trouble, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I mean, I started out just on my own in pantos.
Okay.
And then I had another double act, which was back when I started. So we're talking, I started professionally 14 years ago, and I had a double act then that I did Ugly Sister with, and then we went into Haven as Fun Stars, as they're called.
Brilliant.
So we did one season back then, and that was called, what were we called? Double D. We were called the Double Ds. I don't know how the name came about, but he was called Dan, and I was called Damian. And then we just made a double act for a year, and then he wanted to go on and do an actual job to get a steady pay, as it were. Which obviously,
don't we all these days?
Yeah, exactly. In industries of entertainment, I don't think you can ever have a steady pay. But so yeah, he went, and then I was on my own for a few more years, and then I got another double act, which was with Tom Rolfe, and we made Double Trouble.
Yes.
And we did that for a few years, which was great. We did pantos, holiday parks, all sorts of fun days, and he now produces shows.
He's a brilliant
producer. And be producer, so that left me back being solo, and now I've been solo for coming up. Well, with Corona, it'll be coming up 2 years. But for the last year, certainly, I've done it. When we were working, it was the last year doing it on my own again, which has been a big change.
Yeah.
When you're used to working with someone on stage.
Wow.
Changing all your material kind of back to solo.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was thinking about that, Damian, when you think being solo that you have so much more material to learn. But in my eyes, within a double act, you're learning your lines, which is important, but you also need to learn your partner's lines and remember not to step on their toes. So you need to know what they're saying as well. So you do need to learn a whole script, don't you? And know when to not speak. Do you find that more? Do you find it easier as a solo act or as a double act, script-wise?
It's very hard to kind of. I mean, I grew up with my dad being in a double act. The Patton brothers, and obviously my uncles, for those that don't know, are the Chuckle brothers. So I grew up always around double acts, and I always wanted to From when I realised it could actually be a job, I always wanted to do what my family were doing. So whether it be a double act or whether that be just performing in general. So when I fell into a double act, I already had a lot of material that I'd grown up with and that they had given me that I could put in to the act. So with the double act, you know your specific parts so well, but you need to be able to bounce off the other person. And that just comes with performing over and over again, I guess. In the end, one of you can go off and add. If someone in the audience shouts at you, you can kind of talk back to them, or if something happens, like that doesn't normally happen, you might fall over or drop a prop. They might say a little joke. You need to be ready for that. Otherwise, like you said, you would talk over each other.
Sure,
And when I transitioned back into a solo performer, it was quite hard because the show I do is very physical and very slapstick, and I still do custard pies and all that, but you've got to find a way of making those acts into a solo act. Like, I can't stand on stage and just pie myself in the face. That's a bit weird. That's not that funny. Whereas if someone else pies you in the face, that's funny. So I had to work out a way of having a custard pie and putting myself in the face that looked real. So I came up with, I'll go in the audience and either pie someone in the audience or fall over on the way down the stairs, and I end up pieing myself. So you kind of work these things around what you're good at. And as I'm quite physical on stage, I can do a fall and make it look real. So the audience obviously laughing away, thinking they've seen something that wasn't intentional. Whereas that can be sometimes the funniest thing in the show. They go, "Oh, I was there when you fell over," and it was actually, you can add these things in physically to your advantage.
Yeah, definitely. I get your ad-libbing skills must be top notch as well, because you were fantastic, by the way, on this night that I worked with you. I was watching from the wings, and you do make a mess. You make a hell of a mess in these shows. But you guys, you come off covered in foam and sort of custard pies and things. But you do have to know each other's timing, because you're not only living in each other's pockets when you're on tour, but you have to know the act inside out, don't you, both of you? So you know where to come back to the script if something does go wrong, and you're ready to pick it up again. And it just flows. Exactly. But it looks like unorganised chaos, but it's so cleverly put together that as comedy clowns, you guys, you do know the act, and you will get back to where if there was a mistake, you will get back and finish the act on time, like, whereas I ad lib and stuff, I end up just doing longer if I do a 10-minute,
well, the thing I always find with what I've always wanted to do is I've never wanted to be a stand-up comedian, so I just stand and tell jokes. And admittedly, there are jokes like that in my show that I do, but whoever I've been with, if it's been myself or a double act, it's very physical based. So it's physical comedy, it's custard pies, it's very kind of slapstick, Chuckle Brothers, kind of material.
Yes.
So, I mean, no matter where you go in the country or where you go, in the world, really. I mean, I've only really performed in this country, but seeing someone fall over or seeing someone be pied in the face is funny. Like, it's naturally funny, but it takes a certain person to obviously be able to perform to be funnier. But I've always wanted to add in a slapstick element, and all the shows I do are very, as you saw then, it's kind of the same I do now. It's balloons, there's chaos, there's people running around from the audience, there's custard pies, there's water, all in a way that makes the audience laugh. And kids can laugh at it, adults can laugh at it. It doesn't matter kind of who you are or where in the country, because I know some people say there's a big kind of north-south divide with audiences.
Sure, but funny is funny, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. As it's physical, and it's not really just joke after joke, as some might not work in different places. That's why I found, and I enjoy doing that physical side of it. But you do come off, you do come off the stage either dripping wet or, kind of bruised and battered afterwards.
I know
there's a long run of them.
It's difficult when you've got a double or two pantos or three pantos in one day, because just washing that flour out of your hair is or custard pie is it's not easy, and it stinks sometimes, isn't it? I've done it a few times.
So I mean, the Christmas before last, I was in a panto. It was in Whitley Bay at the Playhouse,
Yeah.
and there was a scene in it where I had to stand under a pipe, and it was a kitchen scene, but I was in a kind of a paddling pool, and the end of the scene was getting 3 buckets full of this kind of slop shaving foam poured over me. So I was literally, it was like a thick white shower I had every show.
Wow.
Covered in head to toe in this. And then obviously I had to run off, get kind of shower my hair, dry my hair, change my costume, and be back on again for the next routine.
Yeah, this is in between scenes. I was talking about in between shows.
3 times a day.
Wow, yeah. No, that's crazy. I remember doing it in panto where we do the slosh routine, and you need to get cleaned up before the next scene. You've got one scene or one song to get that out your face and your hair, and yeah. But I mean, you go the whole hog though. You know, you talk about standing in the paddling pool with sort of pipes, sort of squirting cream all over your body. I just had it in my face and I was panicking.
Well,
but you're used to it.
That with pantos that I've been in, I mean, I will say to the producer or the person running the show that, firstly, I don't mind splosh. It's only shaving foam, but I know some people don't like, certainly dames and kind of other characters, they don't necessarily want to get messy.
They ruin their wigs, yeah.
Whereas I find, I mean, the messier the better, but even if it's just the ice cream routine that a lot of people in the industry will know, I've got a routine of that I can teach whoever is in the show I'm doing it with. But I don't mind getting messy or any of that. So I will sometimes ask the producer if I can do a routine like this.
Oh, you add one, yeah.
So,
I'm imagining that your wedding party was it like a mud wrestling or something in a church?
Not quite. No, I don't think the wife would have allowed that. But no, I do just love that kind of physical side of the comedy, and I grew up watching my dad certainly perform these routines that now I perform in pantos.
Oh, amazing!
Being able to stand on a stage and get laughs from that is just kind of magical for me, and I hope I can carry it on for as long as possible.
Ice and Teeth.
Oh, mate, I think what you're doing carrying on is a lovely legacy as well for your uncles and your father. It's an incredible thing to be doing, and I love the fact that I found, when we met, and I found that you were, your family were in the business. It's just an incredible thing to pay tribute as well, isn't it? And you have worked with them in panto as well, haven't you? And your father, to be in the same panto as them is incredible.
Yeah, so I mean, I never thought that I would ever get to work with my dad and my uncle Jimmy, who's the other one. They were the brothers, because when I was growing up and going into panto, or starting to think about, I want to go into panto after sixth form, I thought, as they're always in panto and comics, I'll never be in a panto with them, wanting to see a comic, except we'll always be in different places.
Yeah.
But my first ever panto, it just so happened that we were working for Dougie Chapman, the producer, and he said, "Oh, actually, you're very tall, and you want to get into panto." He wasn't going to cast the comic, but he wanted a wolf, a big, bad, tall, kind of gangly-looking wolf, because it was Red Riding Hood. And
wow.
he said, "Oh, you can come to the Albert Hall in Bolton, and you can be the wolf, so be the baddie in panto.
Nice.
And your dad and Jimmy are in that,
Wow.
so you get to be with them." So it was. I didn't share the stage with them, kind of on that panto, and I was an evil wolf, so you never really have a routine with the comics,
not together,
apart from the ghost gag.
Oh yes,
but
yeah.
The year after that, Dougie put us all in Billingham, so it was Billingham Forum, and then I got to share a scene with them that time because I was playing a talking part, so I was playing like the comedy kind of innkeeper in Goldilocks and a bear. So in this second act, I had to be a bear as well. But
amazing!
I got to have an interaction with my dad and Jim and throw them off the stage because they were being silly. So that was just kind of magical to see the other side of panto fully from start to finish, backstage, see what they do, how they get prepared.
Wow.
And obviously I'd seen that growing up, but not for a full run. So
yeah.
that was just kind of magical.
That's
to share that experience.
fantastic to get that moment. It really is. You can work with your dad and your uncle, but you have to dress up as a fluffy animal to do it. Is that how it worked out?
Yes. The two bands I've done have been mainly, yes, undercover.
Did you watch a lot of slapstick? Did you watch Charlie Chaplin or Laurel and Hardy? Because I know I want to introduce to my kids. You know, we watch a bit of Charlie Chaplin, and they love Tom and Jerry, all that sort of slapstick, great, you know, sort of cartoons of the past and the old black and white movies. I try and put it on in the background and see if they're interested, and they do. They sit there laughing and giggling, and it's lovely to see the kids growing. I'm sure when your little one is born, you'll be putting on your father and your uncle's videos and stuff, and just watching YouTube of the old Laurel and Hardy's. Did you ever grow up watching, because you saw your family do it, did you watch any other performers like Norman Wisdom or anything?
Well, I was quite lucky because when I was growing up, my dad was always away in the summer holidays at school, so he was either with the Chuckles in a show, or he was also doing cabarets and the good old day shows, which was like variety shows,
yes,
and all this minstrel shows. So I used to go along to these variety shows where they were doing their act or hosting, and I used to sit at the side of the stage, and I'd see people like Charlie Cairoli do his act, or I'd see all these different variety acts on the bill, and I got to watch from the side of the stage. And I might have seen them before, so I know Charlie Cairoli did a lot in the same shows as my dad as a kid, and if you, I mean, I know you know, but if your listeners don't know, he's clown and very slapstick.
Yeah, amazing.
He falls through chairs and all sorts, but I got to see that from the side, which not a lot of people do, and just watching performers perform on stage, getting those reactions from the crowd,
wow,
I think helped me know that's what I wanted to do. And
definitely.
I mean, it was the same as the Chuckle shows. I used to sit at the side much as I could, even when my dad wasn't on the stage. He might go back to the dressing room. I'd still be sat there kind of watching what was going on, what mistakes were made, what worked well, if someone from the crowd threw something at the stage, what would happen. All of this kind of, you know, I got to see firsthand, and as it was all comedy and, you know, slapstick, I think that obviously rubbed off on me.
Yeah, that's an incredible inspiration. I mean, you sat there in the wings and watch, and they do say if you're going to learn from the best. And your family, that they are some of the best that have been up there, you know. And I was watching some lovely clips of Brian and Jimmy and Paul and Barry on the good old days. There's this lovely clip of them together doing, and they were on New Faces together as well, all four of them. So they were doing like Lily the Pink. Was it Lily the Pink, the good old days? And they're all working together with their arms and their legs up and down, and it's so synchronized, isn't it? The slapping of the faces and harmonies together. Their singing was great, and so the timing is really integral to their act, especially where the live drummer, the people in the band, have to be right on call. We're watching every move that they do, but it was so brilliantly executed as a not just the comedy double act, but is it quartet? Would it be comedy quartet?
Yeah, the quartet. Yeah, because they were two double acts. So my dad and Jim made the Patton brothers, because they were older than the Chuckle brothers were by like 10 years.
Okay.
And then the Chuckle brothers made their own double act, which was at the time it's called the Harmon brothers. So there was two sets of double acts in the family.
Oh wow!
And then later on, when they all got a bit older and established, they formed a foursome, and that foursome was called the Chuckle brothers. So in the foursome was the Patton brothers and the Harmon brothers, but the foursome.
But they were the
Chuckle brothers.
Oh, okay.
And then they did a few TVs. They did 3-2-1 with Ted Rogers, and they did the Good Old Days, which, like you said, you've seen on YouTube, and there's a few clips, and that lasted a few years.
Yeah.
And then they decided to go back to the double acts, and they kept the Patton brother name because that's what they were called. And then Paul and Barry said, actually, Chuckle works better than Harmon, so we're going to keep the Chuckle name, if that's okay. And then that's how they became the Chuckle brothers, the two Chuckle brothers.
Oh, that's amazing.
And yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where they got picked up by an agent in, I think it was Southend, and then the rest is history. So you never know who's watching either. So always give your best in a performance. Because,
Definitely, yeah. I mean, that's an incredible story. Really lovely. Thank you for sharing it. Did you ever meet your granddad? And was it Granddad Gene? He was originally Jimmy Elliott. He was a comedian, wasn't he, your granddad?
He was a comedian and a whistler originally as well. He was. They used to literally do the act where he would whistle in his performance. I never got to see him. He went before I was born.
Oh.
But I have seen. There's lots of pictures and articles that my dad has, and there's a few pictures on the internet.
Okay.
That you can see, and obviously that my dad's got a few books of him in his act, like whistling and that. But there's no video that I've seen of him doing it. But,
that's a shame.
So yeah, that's a shame, obviously. But the whole family, it was in show business. So my nan, she was a dancer, and then she married Damian Patton, and he was the souffleur. And then all his kids, bar one, because they had 6 kids. You had Jimmy, my dad, Brian, Barry, Paul. And then there was a sister called Sheila. She was a dancer.
Okay.
And then there was one other called Colin. That's the 6th child.
Yes.
He was the only one that didn't go into show business. He became a car salesman or a mechanic.
Well, you have to have the gift of the gab to be a car salesman or mechanic. So.
But everyone else was in showbiz. And then obviously my dad married a dancer whose mum, and then a few of the others, like Jimmy married a dancer. So I mean, it was a very showbiz family, as it were.
Yeah, it's incredible. Who didn't marry a dancer? I know many ventriloquists that I know before me married dancers, like Arthur Worsley, and I married a dancer. Steve Hewlett married Nina. She was a dancer. We've been together 20 years. But yeah, I think that, the business comes together. You do seasons together, and you met your wife, didn't you?
Yeah, my wife. So I met her in pantomime. We were doing a touring pantomime, and the funny thing was, I was playing an ugly sister in Cinderella, and she was playing 2 parts. She was playing the fairy godmother and Prince Charming. It was a tour around schools and anyone that wanted one, really.
Yeah, so she was dressed as a man and you were in a dress.
Yeah. Exactly. Our first couple photo of us as a couple, because we started seeing each other on the tour. Our first actual couple photo was me dressed as a woman and her dressed as a man.
Wow. So who does wear the trousers in your marriage? It's confusing, isn't it?
Oh, well, I mean, put the dresses in the cupboard for me, I don't know. No, I've played Ugly Sister a few times. I think 3 times now, and it's certainly hard work to put all the makeup and wigs and all that on, but it's certainly fun.
You seem to be, I don't know what the age is though, because I speak to a lot of people and they say, and then I thought it was time for me to, be a dame. Right? Mike Doyle, he decided, yeah, now I want to try dame. But you seem to be very young to want to be a dame. Or when was the first time you played dame?
I've done actual dame, as it were, twice, which was in just a mini half-term panto, right. Which was just literally I was the dame. But Ugly Sister-wise, I've done 3 times, and that was the first time was in 2011, so it was my 3rd panto that I'd done professionally.
Yes.
And as I think I got away with it, but the reason I did it in 2011 was it was a touring kind of school TIE/theatre tour. Anyone that wanted a panto at the time, we'd go to set up the stage, set up the props, and then do the show as a team of 5.
Okay.
So that was how I did Ugly Sister first time. But then in panto, a company called Blue Genie, Gary Telfer, he said, your comedy style would actually work quite well. I'm looking for another ugly sister. Right. So you can still do your comedy, your slapstick kind of routine, but would you think it would work as, one of the kind of baddies, as it were? And I said, well, I mean, I'm happy to give it a go. And that was in Ridley Bay, which was only 4 years ago. And then I did it, and it was great. And he wrote us in a kitchen scene, so I've still got splosh on me. And although we were bad in the story, so obviously you've got to do the tearing up of the ticket and all this. We wrote it in a way where, although people booed at us, they would also laugh at us. So, you know, I was a comedy sister
Yeah.
and bad.
Oh,
So
that's
it was
nice.
kind of not full-on evil, ugly sister, but it worked really well. And I'd never say I was a dame or I'd choose to do it, but I know I can do an ugly sister if people need.
Yeah.
Whereas I see myself as, you know, more of the comedy sidekick, the Muddles character in pantos.
You can do it all. Yeah.
But I mean, yes, but I know as I've done it, I know I can do, you know, the gaming. It's just I wouldn't say I'm an actual dame to put in a panto.
Yeah, sure.
As a dame on my own kind of thing.
But he is available if you do need him out there, producers.
Exactly, yeah.
So,
I mean, I wouldn't say no to any contract that came in.
Well, anything now we'd love. I've done 11 pantos. And probably half of them are Aladdin. I do love Aladdin, so I just kind of fell into that Aladdin part when it was offered, and I just love the story. But you've already bypassed me by doing 14. Is it 14 professional Christmas pantos that you've done?
14, yeah. So,
wow. And you're trying to catch up with your dad's record of 56, aren't you?
So my dad, as a double act, they did 56 pantos in a row without ever missing a performance.
Are you kidding?
And they have done a few more pantos than that before they became a double act, because they were doing national service and things like this. So, I mean, technically the total's something like 60, but as a double act, they did 56 years on the trot. So I'm trying to kind of catch up with that, or at least do as many pantos as possible.
Yeah, that is incredible.
A bit of a spanner in the works, but,
I kind of miss it, you know. I've done about the last 5 years. I've done Christmas shows, variety shows, you know. But you do miss the camaraderie, and I do have that in variety shows, because you're always working with casts and singers and dancers and comedians and stuff. But I do miss panto, and I think I'm going to go back as long as panto's back this Christmas 2021. I really would love to go back this year. So I think because it wasn't on really last year, I kind of missed it because I couldn't even watch it, you know. So I really want to go into a panto because I know how much us performers have missed it, and when it's not there, you really do miss it, don't you? So yeah, I decided not to do panto for a few years, but now I was planning to go back this Christmas, but I really, really want it this Christmas because I think the audiences are going to be ready, don't you?
It was hard for me because personally, I know a lot of people love panto, but for me, it's the best job of the year.
Yeah.
And when I wasn't working, so when I was growing up, I always used to go and see my dad in panto. So every single Christmas, without fail, we went to see his pantos. And then from when I could work after sixth form, I'd always been in a panto without missing a year. So it was very strange to not only love that as your job, the best of the year, but not even to be able to see a panto in the flesh, let alone be in one, was very strange. I did get to be an understudy this year for a company who did pop-up pantos.
Okay,
which was Evolution, did a few online pop-up pantos.
Oh, fantastic.
One of their understudies, but obviously everyone got shut down at Christmas, so there was quite a few little ones went online, and they did very well with them. I think they had 6 altogether. So fingers crossed, this coming year, we'll both be in panto wherever it is in the country. But
that's amazing.
It was a very strange Christmas.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you've done so many. You've worked with quite a lot of different producers as well, haven't you? With you talk about the Blue Genie, Tony Pearce, Dougie Chapman. We miss Dougie, bless him, and also Evolution and Kudos. There's quite
Kudos out in Belfast, which was it was one of my favourite pantos actually. And as it was Belfast,
the Opera House.
It was a 2-month Grand Opera House Belfast. Yeah, it was a 2-month run.
Wow.
No, sorry, it was a month run, I think 5 weeks, ended on the 15th of January, but you couldn't come home for Christmas or you couldn't go on your days off because if you got stuck, you couldn't fly back. I mean, you couldn't take that risk.
Yes.
So I went out middle of January, I think it was January the 15th, and came back, November the 15th, and came back January the 15th. So it was 2 runs, two months in Belfast, a great city.
Oh, amazing.
Christmas,
Wow.
Amazing theatre. To be performing in that every night was just amazing, and in Cinderella, which is one of their biggest productions.
Yes. What an experience.
Just magical, yeah. And Belfast is very, if you ever go to Belfast and see the panto, it's almost like it's the biggest panto in Northern Ireland, because it was sold out pretty much. I'd say 98% of the performances were sold out performances.
Oh, wow, that must be a record. Yeah.
That holds 1,000 seats. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah, my best mate worked out there, actually, Jimmy Tamley, the ventriloquist. He'd done it about 4 years ago, I think. And there's a very famous dame there that is there every year, isn't there? What's?
Yeah, that's May McFetridge.
Yes.
May McFetridge. She's almost like
Dame Edna.
Star version, like Brendan O'Carroll is with Mrs. Brown's Boys.
Really, yeah, I heard.
There. And if he wasn't in panto at that theatre, I don't think. I mean, people would revolt. I think he's been there so long. He's even got #1 dressing room. He's even got a plaque on the wall, and they've called it the John Lennon, which is his actual name, the John's dressing room kind of thing. So,
oh wow, okay.
He's a star in Belfast, whereas we don't necessarily know him too much over here.
No. But my mate Jimmy told me about him. I didn't know about him until he came back, and saying how incredibly in awe everybody was of this dame, you know, and how long he's been there. It's incredible to have that accolade, you know, to be in
and he's been there so long that he is now obviously the top. They get in another name, but he's also now kind of shared billing every year with the celebrity, as it were, who goes there.
I imagine people go to see him, don't they? And it's a bonus if you get, you know, Brian Connolly or someone come over.
They even did it one year when the Opera House got bombed. It was bombed, so they couldn't use it, but they moved it to, I can't remember where it was, but they moved it to a different venue that wasn't a venue. It was somewhere like a train station, or it was somewhere like that. But they even did it then. This would be the first year just gone that they've done kind of no sort of panto due to the pandemic. But,
yes.
No, yeah, John's amazing out there. He does really well, and they love him.
Wow, they're great memories. No, you and I, Damian, have we started really in a similar way as professionals, because I was offered when I was 22. I turned professional when I was offered 100 contracts in Haven holiday parks, and then again in 1998. So it's sort of 97, 98. I started to do holiday parks with my little vent act. And you started in holiday parks, and you've done so many, haven't you?
Yeah, so I was down in Weymouth Bay, 2010, 11. I was a fun star there.
Okay.
And you learn your craft so quickly there, because not only did they put you in as a DJ at night, you had to control the box. I was presenting on the stage. I was, doing shows, and I got to, in the summer, so there's like a 6 to 7 week period of full summer, I got to perform my own routines one night a week. And there was parks next to each other, so I did it in the other park. So 2 nights a week, technically, I was performing. So that really kind of quickly got me confident in all the stage etiquette and presenting. And if something happened, you could just go on stage and chat, kind of thing. It got up the hosting capabilities. So after I left there, I thought, I see these acts coming in every night, doing their 45-minute sets or their hour set. I wish I could do something like that myself.
Yeah.
And then I built up confidence to create my own show, as it were, which then turned into a double act show, which then turned into, obviously, myself again, but to create kind of a show that toured all the holiday parks. So, I mean, like you, there's a lot of driving, but when you get the audience reaction, it doesn't matter. So I've done Scotland, Wales, Ireland, just everywhere in the UK, certainly Havens and Pontins and all these different places. But it's just, when you get to a park and you see a full room of people and kind of, they're not there to see you. Obviously, they're having a holiday, but your name is on the stage.
Oh, they're there anyway,
You're
aren't
getting
they?
the reactions.
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
I remember last year, we were just coming out of the first lockdown, and I started to get some Pontins gigs in the diary last minute, and you were doing like the day before me, and I was at the venue the day after, and I was
we were chasing each other around the country, weren't we?
I was tweeting or texting you saying, what is it like there? Is it busy there? It wasn't busy anywhere, but there were audiences, and I said, what's it like where you're going at Canberra or down in Breen, and then you say, yeah, weather's a bit wet, and so I had a couple of cancellations at last minute because it would just rain you off, and there was no one sat there in the rain, funny enough, but they were outside gigs. It was a challenge, wasn't it, Damian?
So strange. I mean, one of them I went to was I did the one in Kent, Canberra Sands.
Canberra, yeah.
And then the next day I was up in Southport. So I mean, that drive alone is, I mean, with traffic, it's like 5-6 hours to drive there. Oh. And I drove all the way from Kent after this rainy show with a couple of families sat there. I mean, they were having a great time. It's just obviously when you're looking out on they did outside shows. So when you're looking out at 5 groups of people, it's like, if only there could be more of an audience to give you that feedback.
Yeah.
But I drove all the way up 5 hours to this venue, and their outside stage was broken. One of the weights had come off, and it was very windy in Southport.
No.
So they said to me, right, we don't really know what to do, but we've got a mini stage inside and a camera. We're going to stream your act to another venue, because they had 2 venues there. They had a bigger one and a smaller one. We're going to stream your act to the screen in the bigger venue.
Oh, that's crazy.
And then people can still watch it,
But great. You've got no reaction.
But there was no reverb, there was no fallback. I couldn't see an audience at all. So it was literally me on the stage performing to this little camera with a light on. And when you're the sort of act that I do, I'm very physical, and you kind of play off laughs and hello everybody and all this. You're not getting anything back.
No, it's all based on reaction.
The cameraman.
Yeah, and you don't even know if there is anyone in that other venue either. Do you?
Exactly, I could have been performing to myself. I mean,
but you could have. We could use our imagination and pretend that there's 2,000 people in the other room, and you're doing that for them. So you can use it the other way. It's about our imagination. But we got through it.
The strangest one in lockdown.
Yeah, it was nice to have some gigs.
Oh, conversational,
wasn't it? Because we never thought it'd come back.
They had outside stages pretty quickly, so they were booking the 4 parks, and I did a few times around them, which was nice. And that mixed in with I did a few walkabout food festivals, and just walkabout entertaining, but it was nice to see things happening when they could come back a little bit all safely and, had masked up and everything. But, I mean, then we had the situation again over Christmas where we were in another tiered lockdown, so then some of the Pontins got cancelled towards the end, and, we went back into kind of a situation. But just to get a bit of performing during that time was, great.
Yeah. Yeah, in between the 3 lockdowns, in those 2 gaps of the lockdowns, I got my work back, but then it went away again. So, but we're feeling for all of our pals, because a lot of our pals haven't done gigs since last March, and there are some lucky ones out there that did get a few gigs, but then we need to carry on, and we need to pay. Everyone needs to pay bills, So I know a lot of my mates have got jobs, that have been in the business for years. So it's what it's what you get out of it, really, isn't it? And you can sit there and wait for the phone to ring, or you can do something just to keep your mind active. And that's exactly what I saw you do when you went on Twitter and Facebook, and you entertained the nation with at least 100 shows every day. Every day you've done something brilliant, and I watched nearly all of them because I was on the road as well, or I was at home with my kids, and I'd sit and show my daughters who were like 4 and 9. So have a little look at this, and they'd get used to seeing your face. So I'll bring them to see you live one day, I promise. And I won't sit in the other room. I'll come to the venue that you're working. But can you tell us a little bit about the videos you made in lockdown? You were so creative, full of energy. You were so funny. You put everything into it. and you made it for 100 days to bring smiles to people's faces.
Well, just before the first full lockdown, which was like the main lockdown, the week of that, so we didn't know we were going in lockdown yet, but they started to suggest people work from home and not go to large gatherings.
Yeah.
So all the holiday parks took it upon themselves to close, and they said, right, we can't open because of, big gatherings. So entertainers and theatre and West End, we highly recommend you stop and you work from home. So obviously all us entertainers are like, we've got to work from home. You can't really do that. So I thought, well, as a lot of stuff has obviously been cancelled, people might be feeling a bit down. They might not be very happy at the moment. So I decided to do a couple of videos in my stage suit, just funny little 30-second to 2-minute videos about an entertainer working from home. So I did about 3 videos, I'd say. Yeah. And then on the day of the third video, Boris announced full lockdown. So obviously everyone shut down then. So I thought, well, I'll carry them on until the end of lockdown, because then that can only be, a couple of weeks, and then I've made people smile every day. So I did 10 videos, I did 20 videos, and then the lockdown got extended, and then I did 30 videos, I did 40 videos. Anyway, I ended up getting to 50 videos and thinking, this lockdown's not ending, so I'll carry on. And then I got to 100 videos every single day. So I did a video a day right through lockdown,
wow,
through the summer. And then eventually I thought, right, I'll stop at 100. And then soon after that, I think that was the end of the first lockdown when stuff began opening. But it was just me doing silly things from home, like pretending to cook and it all goes wrong, or opening a flower packet and it falls on me, or I had a little section in the middle, how to save money working from home, and I had me having a shower in my clothes, so you didn't have to wash your clothes in the washing machine.
Yeah, we saw that one.
It was just funny things like this. And then I thought, well, that's done. 100 videos. I mean, that's quite an achievement. I hope
not a bad show reel, is it? Nice show reel for a sitcom.
Yeah. And then I brought it back again because Boris did lockdown 2, and I thought, right, well, I'll do another set then. And I ended up doing another 30 in the second lockdown, which lasted until the beginning of December. So I threw in a bit of Christmas stuff. Christmas music toward the end. But,
mate, they were brilliant.
Thinking them up every day, but
yeah, I know
you need to keep your mind active.
Yeah, I know our mutual friend Jimmy Cricket actually he done jokes every day, didn't he? And I think he hit 100.
Yeah, he did one of them. That was fun.
It's so nice, really, because we're just keeping creative. We don't want to lose the timing of what we've got, and I don't want to lose my technique. So I have done things. I've done certain things. Where you're doing quizzes and you do online interviews and they want to see the characters. And I've done a few workshops. So it's been really nice to keep that. I mean, if you're a juggler, you can't stop juggling because you will lose the technique or the skills. It's, and you kept your face, your face contorted and your, body moving and stuff. But it's about the energy, keeping sanity really within an entertainer's mind. If you stop, Damian, I'm sure that you would sit there and you would not enjoy just sitting there watching telly and working, from home doing office work. Or I think you're one of those people like me. You have to keep going and you keep entertaining. It's not that we need the applause, and which will be nice, but it's not that we need that or that feedback. We just want to keep. I don't know. It's a passion inside, isn't it? It's the art of what we've learnt. And we can't stop entertaining.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, I did, as you said, I did these videos. I didn't have to do 100. I could have stopped after a week, but
yeah.
I mean, it's all very well. I can sit and watch the TV. I can, watch films, but it's not a job so much as, yes, you get money for it, and it's great if you can make a living from getting money for it. But I think I would still perform in some way, even if it wasn't, paying all the bills or anything like that. I don't think I could do a proper job continuously. A proper job, you know what I mean? Of course. Somewhere, supermarkets or anything like that. They do a great job. It's something inside that makes you want to make people happy or make people smile and laugh.
Yeah.
why we do it. It's nerve-wracking, and I say, after I had the double act and I was on my own again, that first week of shows was, I think, the most nervous I've been, because suddenly you find you're on your own again and there's no one to bounce off, and it's just you stood on the stage. But
yeah, definitely,
it's getting that muscle. Keep going with it, and you soon become more confident, and you know what you're doing. It's almost like second nature. And I'm sure if you went on stage tomorrow, and if I went on stage tomorrow, we'd be able to do our show. It's just you might be more kind of not as sharp as you were, because we haven't done it for a few months. But as soon as we get that first booking back, we'll be there, because that's what we enjoy so much. And to bring joy back to other people, to that audience watching you, it takes them out of their lives for an hour, just to laugh and smile at someone.
I did enjoy doing the gigs. When I went out there, actually, I was so nervous doing the first gig. I remember going there, and that's why I connected with you and Steve Royal. Steve Royal was doing Southport, and he went, "Oh, you're doing these as well." He said, "Is this the same situation for you?" I went, "Yeah, there's 3 tables. It might rain. Yeah. You might get cancelled at the last minute. You might have to hang around for a few hours in your car, and then it's just how it was." But I think we were grateful, really, to have some gigs.
I had to text Steve, because that performance in Southport I said about their stage breaking in the camera, the day after, Steve was going to be there. So I gave him a quick text, and I said, "Steve, just to warn you, the stage is broken, so you might be doing it on a camera, so there's no kind of audience interaction." And he obviously texted back going, "Oh God, thank you so much." He lived only about an hour away, so he said, "I'm going to take some extra props just in case," because a lot of his stuff was audience-based, and maybe a volunteer or two. But when he got there, I think they'd had someone in overnight to redo the stage. So luckily, he got to do it with an audience. But
Steve shouldn't be complaining. He's used to doing just the screens. He even done Britain's Got Talent final with just screens. There was no audience. He's the expert at that now.
He was going for it.
Oh, he's brilliant.
The hardest thing I found with those shows, my show was a lot of audience interaction and getting them on stage. So I end with a routine where I've got 4 people on stage, and then everyone ends up getting pied.
Wow, so you got to rewrite. You got to rewrite everything.
Yeah. Well, you couldn't have any volunteers on the stage, so I had to suddenly find an extra 20 minutes of my show.
Wow.
That I had to put in, because at the very beginning they said, "Yeah, that's fine, as long as you're social distanced, you can get them on stage, as long as you're 2 meters away." And I had an extendable mic stand that I used to interview them with when they got up, and it was all fine. Okay. And then suddenly they said, "You can't even do that. You can't even get them on the stage." So that's when I was like, "Oh no, quick!" But I mean, it was fine. I managed to do it. You just come up with extra routines you've got in the bag from past couple of years, and then it worked well. So we got to do something in that time. But,
it's amazing. Well done for entertaining us, mate, because we were all at home, and my kids got to see what you were doing, and it takes a lot of guts, really, and it saw you through, really, didn't it? I mean, you didn't sit there and like this year now, people will say to you, "What did you do last year?" And you can tell them what you did, and you could show them what you did. You just have a look on YouTube, and I've done 100 little videos, and it is a great little CV, really. It's a CV of performance that you have, little show reel that you could send people to now, and it's better than a CV, really, isn't it? But you've got.
If anyone wants to know what I do, I just show them the videos. Just take a look at the videos. You'll soon find out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you used up your energy, but you used up your energy in a few ways. Without using too much detail, you're expecting a mini Patton, aren't you? Which is a very exciting time.
Yeah, literally. I mean, as we're recording this today, I've only got about 3. I mean, depends when it makes an appearance, but it's about 3-4 weeks maximum until I've got my newborn baby in the house.
Fatherhood, mate.
That'll soak up the time of the last bit of lockdown, I'm sure.
Yes, it will. That's what we love to hear. But it's congratulations to you both, Matt. That's lovely news. Really nice, especially for Grandad to hear that as well. I'm sure Brian's really happy. Yeah,
she'll love that, yeah.
Oh, wow. It seems like we may get some sort of summer this year, which is something to look forward to as well. And, taking your baby to walking in the park and then going to a cafe, just doing the normal things that we've missed. That'd be so nice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I should think that now that some of these holiday parks have done outside shows, say Pontins, I should think that maybe the others, Havens and all this, will maybe do the same if we're still in a situation like this. So we could be doing more outside shows and
Possibly, yeah.
bump into each other or whatever it does. But that'll be nice. As I said, the evenings are getting lighter and things are on the up with the vaccines, and
It's more positive, isn't it?
positive thinking. That's it.
Yeah. No, I've done a bit of ventriloquism on the radio. Have you ever done your act on the radio? Is it possible for Damian Patton to do audio but still do your act without using words? It's probably impossible, but can you do anything?
On the radio.
That's what I'm talking
the
about.
problem with being a physical performer.
Just fall off a chair.
You need to see in order for maybe a YouTube series I could do, but I don't know about the radio.
What I needed then was you to sort of push the chair over, fall over, or jump out of a window or something. So we need some sound effects.
Oh God! Oh no! Drop the plate. Trash in the bedroom. Trash in the office.
Thank you for your time. Now, what are your plans for the future, Damian? Directing, writing, producing, or are you 100% performer?
100% performer. I mean, just to play as many theatres as I can, and
Like
go
Ken
on
Dodd.
stages.
Like Ken Dodd had that, didn't he?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been in obviously 14, I've done a couple of times, but different theatres around the country for pantos, and making them your home for a month or two is fantastic. But every theatre I go to that I haven't played before, it's just thinking, wow, the old-fashioned buildings or the modern ones, and some are different venues that show cinemas at some points, but just to play as many different theatres and see as many people laugh as possible is just where I want to go to. So at the moment, I don't have any plans for directing or producing. I'll be in as many shows as I can, kind of bringing that slapstick to people, bringing the custard pies and the mess, and it's just a joy. Every time I perform on stage, as I said earlier, it's just, it hits you after you come off, and when you're there, and when a room is with you laughing, it's just the best feeling I can, possibly have. So I'll carry on with that as long as possible. And I'm heading towards that 55, 56 panto run. So
love to your family and all the best with the little one coming up very soon. And your dear wife, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. I know she's going to need you back pretty soon because preparation is key, isn't it?
Well, no, it's been amazing, but thank you very much. Thank you for having me on. It's been great to discuss stories and how lockdown has affected us and what we've been doing. But no, as I said, thank you for the opportunity.
No worries. Thanks for being on Eyes and Teeth. Thank you, Damian Patton.
Cheers.
Eyes and Teeth.